Today we're gonna check out Silksong, because I heard that this game is too hard, and I vehemently agree. How are you ever supposed to beat the high score in this minigame? Like, look at this is absurd. Anyway, we're going to beat the game in Steel Soul mode, with absolutely no problems whatsoever. Let's begin. The game begins with Hornet taking a pleasant nap in this mossy grotto. Trust me, they get a lot of mileage out of this pose. But anyway, we wake up and it's just some basic platforming until we make it to our first boss, the Moss Mother. Despite only having 2 moves, I think I get hit more by this boss than anything else in the game. Luckily, it goes down in like 12 hits, so losing is really not on the table. After climbing out of the Moss Grotto, we return to the face down position, only to be nicely woken up by getting beat over the head with a bat. Reminds me of my school days. We walk through the starter town called Bone Bottom, but don't worry, we'll never come back here again. There is nothing for us here. The game starts out pretty slow. We can't run, we can't double jump, we can't wall climb, we can't really do anything. Also, none of these enemies drop the main currency of the game, rosaries, so we parkour our way through, meet a weird singing bug. I wonder how you train somebody to sing in gibberish. Like, do you have sheet music? Did they just riff this? Now, for those who don't know, in Steel Soul, if you die, your save file is deleted. There are 2 main things that can kill you. One is, of course, the bosses. The other thing, though, are these battle rooms. So there are certain rooms that will seal when you walk in, and upon doing so, waves of enemies will spawn, and you have to beat them all in order to progress. Sometimes it's just one mini-boss enemy, sometimes it's multiple hordes. Unlike the bosses, most of these checkpoint rooms really aren't a big deal. But here's what they look like, and if I get to one that is somehow a problem, I'll point it out. This one, of course, is very easy because it's just meant to kind of show you that these exist. Eventually, we make it to this friendly map maker. I buy a map even though I've completely memorized the levels. She says that we're a kid, we tell her that we're not, and we go on our way. After some more low-octane platforming, we finally get our first skill, and a convenient flashbang to go with it. We are told bearer seek less, and now I've got this special ability. There are multiple abilities like this in the game. They do the damage of 3 swings, and some are better than others. And with that, we can finally access the first boss of Silksong. Well, that is an actual boss. Now, the Bell Beast is a pretty easy fight. It only has 3 moves, one where it goes in a straight line, one where it goes up in the air, and one where it pops up and throws bells at you. Basically, there's no way that you'd ever lose this fight. Sounds Slavic to me. I don't really know that language. Gate, nicest gate I've met. Gate, greatest miracle yet. If you're gonna give me 5 health to work with and then make stuff do 2 damage, it's annoying, right? Because, like, my very first health up is gonna be effectively useless. But there we go. Nice and easy. After beating the Bell Beast, this happens. We do a parkour section. This might be like my steak is too juicy, my lobster is too buttery, but this on an OLED actually makes me close my eyes. I feel like I'm getting a sunburn. Return to Hornet's favorite pose, and off we go. Also, this beast is fast travel, so cool. Now, I'm on a mission to progress as quickly as possible, because one of the first things that you unlock is the ability to sprint, and playing Hornet without a sprint is like trying to jockey a 2-legged horse. Not that type of horse. Our next big obstacle is this generic dude, Lamarin. Oh, and here's our first big fight. So, I'm actually going to take a moment to explain what is probably one of my favorite mechanics of this game, which is parrying. So if you swing into a swing, like this, you don't get hit. Whoa. Calm down there, bro. we're just gonna just leave. I didn't realize that he could hit me that far away. Give me a second. Basically, if you attack into an enemy's attack, that attack won't hit you, if you time it right. There aren't many places where this is incredibly useful, but here it is, because it's the best way to counter his jump attack. Unlike a boss, there's nothing locking me into this room, and there's a bench right nearby. So if I get low on health, I can just leave so that I don't have to do this entire run a second time. It takes about 30 minutes to get back to this point, with most of that time being walking in a straight line, getting flashbanged, and laying face down. So I'd rather avoid that. While it's mostly a straight shot from here to unlocking the sprint, there is one more thing that I want to talk about. And it's not this parkour through the Hunter's March. No, it's this room where we get some help from the bug that sells maps. This is a pretty cool set piece, but I find that the attacks that she does are incredibly frustrating because she's throwing rings at you, while enemies also throw rings at you, and she's dashing all around on your screen. It's a very cool little set piece, but like, did anyone else find it hard to see what was going on in the fight? It doesn't get me killed here, but it definitely could. Anywho, go this way, maybe rest at this bench that totally won't hurt you, drop down here, go to the left, grab yourself the sprint. Just unlocking this makes this game feel so much better, because not only can you move at about 3 times the speed, but if you press the sprint button in the air, you do this cool little flip. It's a great way to get some extra distance, it's a great way to dodge attacks, and it just looks cool. This really grew on me throughout my playthrough. But continuing on, there's a whole little optional area, but because I don't know how many times we're gonna have to play through this game, I skip it. And now it's time to meet our rival. This is Lace. She's what Hornet was to the Hollow Knight in Game 1. We will be seeing her again. But since this is our first time fighting her, despite all of her big talk, she doesn't seem like she's ever used a sword in her life, so we take her out pretty easily. And then she flies away. Some more walking in a straight line, and if you're doing your first playthrough of this game, this is a great spot to farm. But if you just keep going to the right, you'll jump across these lava rocks, where don't worry, that in the background totally is not a boss. This is a whole little sub area. We're gonna talk to this seamstress, she's gonna say go collect some spines, you do a little circuit, you come back, and you unlock the most dopey float animation I've ever seen. It became ignorable, but like, when I first saw this I really did hope that I'd get a cooler thing later on. You don't. With this unlocked, we gain the ability to float up. I find my first mask fragment, which you need 4 of to get an upgrade, and then continuing to follow the path, I burst out into Greymoor. Greymoor is a really pretty place with some pretty terrible enemies, but I just go to the left and go straight to the boss. Now, a lot of people struggled with this boss on the game's release, and that's because it was bullshit. Now, in the difficulty adjustments, the projectiles now only deal 1 mask of damage, which makes this fight significantly easier. But even so, I find that if you just move away whenever you see the boss start to do something, you'll usually be fine. It also helps a lot to use your special attacks to speed it up a little bit, if you feel safe using that silk to do so. So it's a trade-off, but what I can say about Morwing is fighting it looks really cool. Overall, despite still being simple, I do like this fight, but it's kind of a trend throughout the entire game that things are only hard because they hit really hard, not because they've got a very complicated moveset. And that is the first and only time in this video that I will mention difficulty. So, yeah. Moving on, we get our very first area cutscene. It's exactly what it looks like. This entire town is strung up by thread, or I guess silk. I swear there's a joke here, but I just can't think of one. Sorry. Continuing on through Dark Root Basin, we have some of the most annoying enemies in the game that luckily you only ever see here and you don't need to fight in any arenas. So yeah, awesome. This entire level, aside from one small arena, is just more of the same with the parkour, except now they've actually implemented the sprinting into it, so it's a little bit fun. We beat the aforementioned arena, and I proved that I'm a gamer through and through, as 5 seconds being forced to stand still nearly sends me into a manic episode. But having survived the forced waiting, it's just a few quick jumps, and next thing you know, I'm at the boss of this area. Just like Morwing, this is another boss that people were really struggling with, so allow me to show you every move that this boss has. So first there's this triple overhead slam, and we win. The forest continues with a gauntlet of the goofiest looking enemies I've ever seen, before we finally make it to our next upgrade. And for those who think that I'm exaggerating about how bright this flashbang is, I can literally find where I get power-ups by checking my timeline. Anyway, we get the wall cling. This not only makes the game a million times more fun to play, and lets us cheese out a ton of bosses, it's also necessary to access the tunnels above Bellheart, and by doing so we can finally see what has all of its citizens so high-strung. This strange bug here says that she wants us for our body, asks us to join the Union, and then proceeds to attack. This is Widow, and I really enjoy fighting her mostly because of one thing, which is that when she throws bells at you, you can smack them and they bounce away, with physics. This looks so much cooler than dodging, and is way less risky than parrying. Now Widow can actually be a pretty difficult fight, mostly because she takes a ton of damage, and moves around a lot more than anything we've fought yet, so it can be kind of hard to rack up the damage on her. Here is a tip both for Steel Soul and Silksong in general. At any point in the game, if you quit to the main menu, it will teleport you back to the last bench that you've rested at. This is incredibly helpful in a normal playthrough, because some benches are easily 5 minutes out from any fast travel points, so this can save you a ton of time. In Steel Soul in particular, if your health gets to 2, you can quit out and it'll bring you back to the last bench fully healed, which will keep you from losing 5 hours of progress. Is this against the spirit of the run? Absolutely. Will people be mad at you on the internet for doing this? Of course. Should you care? Not really. Now, because I'm making a video, I don't typically quit out because it's kind of the point that this is a little bit difficult, but this is an incredibly nice tip if you just want the achievement. Also, after knowing this, you will now never be able to trust that someone did this legit ever again. You're welcome. Our very much deserved second attempt goes much better, until out of nowhere my game crashes on me. For no reason. Now, for those wondering if this works, no. The second that you die, your progress is gone. So, yeah. This game stinks, I'm going back to flea juggling. Fuck. Okay, roll the montage. No! Now I'm one fall away from dying, so this sucks. I love taking 2 hearts of damage from environmental effects. Whoever decided that's a good idea really understands what's fun. Talk about a hangover. Come on, baby, come on. And we're back. I actually was doing live commentary during this fight, but something with my audio mixing got wrong, so it's too quiet. So let me just talk you through the main thing to watch out for. In this phase 2 of the fight, when Widow calls down 5 bells, watch her carefully, because she almost always follows it up with the charge attack, and the bells obscure it, which makes it a little bit hard to see. By actually paying attention to this, we pretty easily tear through her health with no problem at all. I also actually got better at smacking the bells away, although not as good as I'm going to be getting. I win. Yo! Sorry, apparently I'm Spider-Man. Okay, we'll be back. By beating Widow, we can upgrade our needle to do a little bit more damage. And then it's back to Greymore. Because remember when I said these enemies are really annoying? Well, they also have a bell that we need to ring. So here we are. Again, these pins do 0 damage. But 0, we'll get the job done eventually, if you're patient. Alright, whatever. Yes. I pressed jump instead of attack. I was really confused. Man, I want to get a different down attack. Yeah, I can't believe that there are people in the world who don't have an internal monologue. It's so weird to me, because I feel like my whole life I've had, like, my own voice in my head thinking my thoughts. How do you think? I don't know, like, it makes me picture, like, do you just think in flashes of emotion? Your eyes deeply glaze over, and you just sit there like, I'm angry now. Okay, I'd said I'd talk about parrying a little bit more, and now's the time. Like I'd said, whenever you do a needle attack, if it hits another enemy's attack, that attack can no longer hit you. Now, the way that it does this, from what I can tell, is that you actually just become invulnerable for a little bit after a parry. Now, this is good and bad news. This means that for dashing attacks that go through you, if they go through you quick enough, you won't take any damage even from contact with that enemy. Now, if they go through you too slow, you will. Don't make the mistake that you made last time a second time. Just... cool. The second most important thing to keep in mind is that if you hit the enemy before you would hit their sword, you will not get the parry, you will trade damage. This is usually the worst case scenario, and also part of what makes going for a parry so risky. You can not only mistime it, but you can also just get screwed over by the fact that the enemy got too close to you. Lastly, if you hit any projectile attacks, they cannot hurt you. Most of the time, parries aren't going to be worth going for, because when you parry an attack, you don't get any silk for it, and you don't deal any damage. There are also some attacks that multi-hit where parrying it doesn't actually help. So yeah, the main reason to do them is because they look cool. Which is a pretty good reason, honestly. For whatever reason, I was really feeling myself in this run, so here's my favorite fight that I had with Silk throughout this whole playthrough. With that, we finally make it to the Blasted Steps, the last area of Act 1. This is a parkour gauntlet over sandworm-infested ground, and absolutely full of annoying, dangerous enemies that are incredibly difficult to hit most of the time. What I'm saying is, everything about this section is encouraging you to just run through it and not look back. If you stick to that, it would take some really unlucky circumstances for you to ever lose a life here. Check this out. When you leave this area, the door closes behind you. You have to pay to get in again. Now, if you don't want to have to do that, here's what you do. Break this gear. Now it'll stay open. I just ran up and started playing if it would have worked. Assuming that you actually make it through the Blasted Steps, you'll be greeted by this door. We whip out our needle and begin playing a song on it, which is a thing we can do, don't worry. These pilgrims that are next to me sing along, and the door rings, allowing us entry into the Grand Citadel. Heh, nah, of course not. First, we've got to fight the Gate Guardian. Now, like many fights in the game, the hardest part of this one is that all of its attacks do 2 damage. The main thing to watch out for here, I'd say, is this attack where it spins the ball around it pretty quickly, because it starts up so quick that you can very easily get clipped by it by not running away in time. Other than that, this boss is very easy to wail on. The worst part of it, bar none, is just the fact that the runback sucks and takes forever. Now, in our case, because if we lose, we die, this runback is actually about 2 hours of my life, as opposed to the 5 minutes of jumping. Whether that's a positive or negative, you tell me. So I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. I was locked in I think I can beat this and get to Act 2 without any problem. Oh, and also my game is in Russian now, because I got tired of reading the same thing again and again, and I can't understand anything the bugs say anyway, so it's kind of immersive. Whoa. Got him. If you're wondering, playing music there does nothing. There we go. Okay, so my notes for this section of the video only say talk briefly about the social commentary of the bugs and then bitch about how strong they are. So let's do that. Basically, we have the Underworks, which is where we start our journey into the Citadel. Down here, every single bug is poor and living in squalor, working endlessly on machines in hopes that they can one day go up to the Citadel. This is shown in-game by the fact that you have to pay money to even get a bench to rest on. And after you rest on that bench, guess what? It goes away, and you need to pay if you want to use it again. And to make matters worse, every single worker here barely has any rosaries to their name. So you've got the bugs down below living in squalor, hoping to one day be called up to the Citadel, where they will be ascended and live a happy life. So they're promised a utopia, okay? Yeah. Except for when they actually go up into the Citadel, there's pretty strong evidence that instead of getting a utopia, they harvest their souls, turn it into silk, and then use that silk to power the very machines that they had spent their entire life working on. Yeah. On top of that, they're dicks. These are the strongest, most annoying enemies in the game, and they drop nothing. At least we're finally here. We have made it past Act 1. Okay, so we've made it all the way back to the Guardian, and it took a while, but it's going pretty well. There is no reason to be greeting this. Why am I greeting? Dude, I hate this character. She doesn't help at all. Every time she appears, she misses when I want her to hit. Hey guys, so I'm back with my flea juggling video, and honestly, I'm really getting the hang of this. I don't know. I know I said this was too hard earlier, but this is actually really fun. So the trick is that you gotta kinda try to keep them towards the center, and then everything just works out. Yeah, look, I beat the record. I did it. Awesome. Long story short, we did everything that you've already seen, again, but this time I didn't die to the jobber enemies. You can hear the joy in my voice. Oh my lord, I've made it to, like, the second phase of the game without becoming a corpse. I may as well pop these rosaries. If I die, I die, so like... Now, one really interesting thing is that when you initially come up here, every single bug of this Citadel is dead already. They are completely not alive, which I guess means that the people living in the Underworks are actually living a better life, because, you know, at least they're living. As we continue on, we once again run into Silk. I honestly forgot she even shows up here. All she does is talk some shit, and then disappear. And then everything comes to life. Which is funny because, like, she doesn't have the power to do this, her mom does. And you have no reason to think that her mom was waiting for this, so, like, I guess this was just really coincidental timing? I don't know. There's really nothing to this. We just continue on and eventually make it to one of my favorite bosses in the game. Whenever they're going to move, they show a line where they're going to go, and you avoid that line. This is perhaps the easiest fight in the game, especially for a later game boss, and yeah. I honestly think that they could have benefited from like a phase 3, and I hope that at some point there is a hard mode version of this. Yes, I know there's a way to fight them again, but even that was still way too easy. Still, I really like this boss. They remind me of the Mantis Lords from the original Hollow Knight. After a few attacks, they'll meet up in the center and spin together. If you want to speed the fight up a ton, use a Silk skill while they do this. It counts as 6 hits of damage because you hit both at the same time. And since I've talked about the lore of everything else in this area, this boss is based off of the Twin Princes, 2 gay bugs that ruled a kingdom together. They're powered by the soul of one of the princes. You can actually meet the other prince alive and well, but I never do and I never will because there is no reason to see that area. Once you do enough damage, one of the princes will die, and it leaves the other one to very sadly dance on its own. At this point, it's just a mercy killing. This solo dance is likely to symbolize the way that their story ended, but I don't feel any sympathy for a dirty clanker. With that done, would you believe that we're only 3 bosses away from beating the game? These robots and/or these recordings and/or these AI, I'm not really sure, pop up out of the ground and tell us that to progress, we need to gather the threefold melody, or in simpler terms, go fetch 3 things for us to open the door, because we are a Metroidvania. Fair enough. These 3 melody pieces are locked behind 1 boss fight, 1 really annoying puzzle and platforming section, and 1 extremely long gauntlet room. You know, one of those rooms where you get locked in and have to fight a bunch of normal enemies. I decide to start with almost dying to a regular enemy. I decide to start with the platforming, because doing so lets us unlock a new skill, which lets us toss our needle and then dash to it. This does a bit of damage, but it also just makes traversal a lot more fun, so I like to start with it. It's also the one where I am least likely to die, because I will tell you full transparency that if I'm going to fail a parkour section, I will just be quitting and starting at a bench. Now, I don't believe I actually had to do that, because they heavily nerfed how hard this platforming section was. All of these gears that you're seeing on screen used to do 2 damage, and now they only do 1. So this really wasn't that bad, except for the simple puzzle at the end of it. Jesus Christ, if I was trying to speedrun this game, I would have lost it right here. And of course, what goes up must come down. Next up on the list, we've got the major fight arena. Don't worry, you are not missing anything by not seeing the area leading up to this. The biggest risk with this fight arena is just the sheer quantity of enemies. This is probably going to take you like 5 minutes, and because I'm not really going for all of the health pickups since I kept dying and losing them anyway, so it started just feeling like an extra 30 minutes of time that was being wasted. I don't really have much health to work with. On top of that, as you've likely noticed, despite the fact that dying will put me back 4 real-life hours, I'm really okay with playing at 1 health. I don't know why. After beating the arena, we force this old decrepit bug to sing for us, giving us the second part of the threefold melody. Okay, so for reasons that I'll likely have to work through with my therapist, despite only being 1 piece of this melody away from being finished, I decide to fuck off to the icy mountains, where if I make 1 mistake in this platforming section, I can easily die, because the way that this works is the longer you're exposed to the cold weather, the more the ice builds up, and after about 30 seconds of being unprotected by these lanterns, you will start taking damage, 1 mask per second, until you die. This is entirely optional. I chose to do this. I forgot I did this, and I'm looking back through my footage and just wondering why. But, luckily, despite almost dying once, I do make it to the end, and we play some mediocre music, conjuring a bird like a Disney princess. Cool. What this does is it lets me double jump, which tells me that I probably went on a 30-minute long side quest to get a upgrade that doesn't actually help me, really. I can double jump now, Mr. Bird. Thank you. Whatever, I got it. Moving on. Come at me, Trovia. And with that, there's only 1 left, and it's the only melody piece that requires fighting a boss. And boy, is he a stylish one. This is Trovio. I'd say the most dangerous part of Trovio are these balls that he throws out, because they can land in pretty unfortunate layouts where I don't really know if there's a way to consistently avoid them. You can make it easier on yourself by smacking them, which will sort of stagger them out or reposition them for you, but I've also had that backfire where it puts it in a worse spot, so yeah. Hello? Ugh, okay. Work call is over, back into not dying to this dickhead mode. You can actually make this a lot easier on yourself. In the area before Trovio, there is an item that is required to upgrade your needle's damage a second time, which will make all of the things that you've just seen me do a lot easier. So I kinda did this in the wrong order. You should start with Trovio. He was a fairy. To be honest, I think I was just a little bit nervous because I knew he was most likely to kill me out of the 3 melody pieces. Oh, I have the quick heal. That was so jarring. Quick heal. Perfect. Ta-ta. Fuck you. This is so stupid to be risking this, by the way. Faridula simanet, doni pana vorinet, pina sami mani set, dana fonsilaban, faridula. 21. Oh, you bit. Are you making a triangle? Yeah, you're just making a triangle. It was easy. 25 times in a row. Let's go. Sup? You made it. Yeah, easily. Huh. Well, you won't make it too much further. So you say, but I'll kill everything here. Haha, I'd like to see you try. Anyway, bye. Ah, hello. You rang the bell. Now I'll have to do my job. You suck. I hate you. I don't care. Ugh, whatever. And there we go. Oh, look, here's the upgrade oil. Yeah, wouldn't this have been nice to have? Yeah. Hey, pale oil. Nice. I knew there was one here. Alright, round 2. This time I'm doing Trovio first, and I am locked in. We're alive. No. We're alive. Please die. Barely an inconvenience. This is where you grab the thing that lets you quick heal, by the way. It's in White Ward. It's called the Injector Band. Daughter of the distant land, we have waited so long, bind your strength to ours, yada yada yada. Now for the hard part. There we go. Oh my god. Not even close. Not even close. Breathe. Sorry, out of habit, I just tried to smack this thing to get more silk. But that's literally his life support system that I just tried to farm. Anyway. Pilgrim of Farloom Eternal, you rare chosen who hath ascended to this final threshold, listen to our wish, deliver it, that you may rise above and see your pilgrimage end. Yeah, at some point I started voice acting for all of the dialogue in this game. I don't know why, I'll spare you the rest of it, just know that I was not doing okay. Anyway, let's play the song and go on to the end of the game. Da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-dum, Kinda crazy to think that their melody is some lightly played string instrumental. Taking the elevator up, you are greeted by Silk, who once again challenges you to fight. Seeing as this is one of the last two bosses, I'll play this one in full, whether I win or lose. Nope. Now this is more like it. You have a phase 2, maybe? Ow. For those who don't know, by the way, you can just do this. Whoa. Sorry, Lace. Let's just say I'm an expert in fighting you in particular. Oops. stupid. Why am I risking this? Whoa! Yo! Oh my god, okay. I wish I could fight this boss more, honestly. I really like her. Probably my favorite in the game. Like, full stop. Congratulations, Spider. Finally, I felt this... I was using, like, a French voice for... Oh, congratulations, Spider. Finally, I felt your sting, and you've bared the truth of my pathetic, empty shell. Face the Holy Mother who had fashioned so cruel and crude a daughter as me. After all, it's you that she wants, is it not? All that, just for you to lay back down. It's the final countdown. Da 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 da. Alright, it all comes down to this. This is Grandmother Silk. That was a lot sloppier than my normal. I need to lock in. That was 6 hits. Holy sh... Okay, I locked in, I guess. Easy. Oh my god. It's okay, guys. You really don't need to do a new challenge. Wow, I was literally 41 seconds away from sub 3 hours. Okay. You know, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure exactly what video I'll make out of this, to be honest, but... Damn. I feel like it'll be a good one. This game has a very rough start. Overall, definitely a lot better than I initially thought. I still don't like the new charm system. I'll just say it. I think most of the charms in this game are pretty worthless. Especially the yellow ones, but like... The crest system is cool, and the bosses and fighting is still fun. Yeah. I need to do some actual work and just take a breather, but... That was fun. If you thought it was too hard at first, by the way, definitely give it a second try. That patch where they toned down the difficulty made the game feel a lot less frustrating. And till next time, see ya. If you've made it to the very end, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I actually got a very nice comment from someone on a post of mine who noticed that I hadn't uploaded in a while, and that really gave me the encouragement to finish out this video. Not sure if people are going to like it too much. Usually when I do something longer like this, they don't. But I had a lot of fun making it, and a lot of not fun making it at various times, and I think I want to do 1 or 2 more videos on Silksong that'll be like literally 5 minutes long, if that. And then I've got a Elden Ring Night Rain video idea and a programming idea that I'd like to do. And all of these should hopefully be much quicker. I don't plan on disappearing for a month again. It really just, between real life obligations and how long this video ended up being, things kind of got away from me. But as always, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, until next time, see ya.